And this has been my kitchen.
Alright, welcome to SonicBlu's Cooking with SonicBlu. This is a whole mess of pork loin roasts. And we're just going to rinse each one down. This is a very important step in starting with our Beer-Braized barbecue pork chops. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. There we go. Wash them big old pork loin roasts. Oh yeah, everybody like my cutting board? I just got that. Alright, so now that they're all washed, I'm going to add our mix of seasoning. And this is our rub. So what's the beauty part about my seasoning is it makes a great rub. This is consisting of seasoned salt, garlic powder, paprika, ground cumin, chili powder, and onion powder, all wrapped up in the same, and thyme, all in the same mixture. And you can make a rub out of it, and I'm going to speed this up now. You can make a rub out of it, you can use it as a blackening seasoning. You can add it on top of your pork, your poultry, pretty much anything you're working with. And this is the best thing about this mix of seasoning. Almost like we're massaging it. Up. And we're all out of seasoning mix. I'm going to have to make some more. But let's see if I got enough. Come on, squeeze a little bit out there. Squeeze a little bit out. There's got to be a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Just enough. Okay, now I'm going to brush some browning sauce over these. And that's pretty much all the browning sauce I've got left. But let's hope, because a little bit does go a long way. And all I really want to do is give this a nice deep brown color. That's mainly what browning sauce is for. Just giving your meat a nice dark brown color. And it's perfect for searing meats like this. So we're going to speed up the footage here. It's almost as if we're painting them. Has anybody ever tried to paint like the Mona Lisa on a pork loin roast? Okay, now that that's done, we're going to carry the meat over here to our cast iron skillet. And it's very important to have a cast iron skillet because it's the perfect element for doing some searing. Now, what that is a black truffle oil. This is going to add a very savory flavor to your meats as you cook it. All we need is just enough oil to coat the bottom and maybe a tiny bit extra. Well, you could add a little bit more than that. Yeah, there we go. Black truffle oil. Good stuff. So now we're going to do is going to lay down a couple of these bad boys down in here, and we're going to sear each side for roughly 4 minutes each side until it's nice and crispy and seared. All sides get seared. And that also means on the edges. So I'm going to kind of do a little time warping on here, because I really don't think you should sit through this for each 4 minutes of searing each side of this. Oh, look at the top of that. Oh, that looks delicious. Okay, so that's kind of what we want to see. Want to see a lot of searing and singeing on the tops and the bottoms, as much as you can get in there. Now I find that standing the meat up on its side really helps in keeping it standing so you can sear it for the time allotted. So we're searing each side for like 4 minutes a side, and for the edges you only really need maybe 2 to 3, or however long you can tolerate it. Doesn't that look good, folks? Sometimes you gotta hold it in place. That's the beauty about searing on all sides, especially when you're dealing with meat that big. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, leaning them against each other. There you go. Up, yeah, there you go. Let it fall down. Sure. Stand it back up. There we go. There we go. There's our meats just hanging out by the side of the pan, getting nice and seared. Yeah, once they're good and seared, I'm going to turn it over to another side and let it sear for another 2 to 4 minutes, or until you reach the desired crispiness. We want to make this outside nice and seared and charred and crispy and all that stuff. There you go. A little bit more extra time turning it over. And this also gives you an opportunity to admire each side that you sear. And we wanted to get it nice and blackened. Look at that. That's what the purpose of browning sauce does. It helps blacken it, gives it a nice color. And the oil will help it get a good crispiness char to it. And the best oil to use is black truffle oil. If you think I'm lying, try it for yourself. Alright, well, looks like we're satisfied with the way they turned out. So once they're done searing, we're just going to give it a few extra sears because I think this one side is not too satisfying. Okay. A little bit more time and we should be ready to go. Let's grab up this meat, check it out. Oh yeah, it looks nice. Okay, so now it's ready for the slow cooker. There goes one. There goes the other. Oh, well, wait, not yet. Got to check it over. Check it over. Yep. It's good on that side. Boy, that looks beautiful. That looks beautiful. A little extra searing on the end here. And yeah, good enough. So once all of your meats are seared the way you want it, the way it looks good to you, there is no real right or wrong way to do a searing, but 2 to 4 minutes with meat this size, it's a good time for, you know, getting the consistency that's just right. And just holding it there for a while. Sometimes you'll be there for a very long time holding your meat. That sounded wrong, folks. I'm sorry. Let's speed this up a little bit. Okay, the other one looked good. This one looks good. Yeah, good enough. Good enough for government work, I always say. And that's all of our meats. So we're just going to turn this off. Why am I using the tongs to turn off the stove? Why am I using the tongs to turn off the stove? I have no idea. I guess little trick to how to make your knobs dirtier. As I clean the top of the stove. Yeah, I'll clean that knob off too. That sounded wrong, folks. I'm sorry. Once again, I chose the wrong choice of words. I can't do this without making it sound too much innuendo. Okay. Well, there's only one thing to do with a smoking pan. Just let it cool down. No innuendo there, folks. Okay, there's our meat in the slow cooker. Look at how beautiful it looks. But this is just the beginning. In order to make beer-braised pork, you need some extra ingredients, like beer. But before we even add the beer, there's a few vegetables we need to add first. But first, let's take some of the oil and drippings and just add them to our meat. Just coat it over like that. Because you don't want all that beautiful concoction to go to waste. Alright, now we're going to work on our vegetables first. We got some onions, some carrots, a whole bulb of garlic, and all of it's going to go in at the same time. This is just for flavor. Now you can top your pork with these vegetables if you want to, but we're just trying to infuse the flavor of onion, carrot, and garlic into our meat. Alright, look how skilled you are with that knife, SonicBlu. This comes from 25 years of working in a kitchen. Look at that chopping job. Alright, yeah, you want some nice big slices of onion. Just cut it all down, cut it all down, cut it all down. Alright, we get the picture. We get the picture. Maybe I strayed a little too long on cutting these onions and not enough time switching over to the next transition. Oh well. I've edited plenty out of this video. I really don't feel like editing anymore. So I'll just talk through the rest of this. Wait, that could be annoying too. I don't know. Is it annoying? I don't think so. I don't know. It's up to you. You be the judge. Okay, so this is what our beautiful dish will be looking like before we pour the beer in. We got the onions that are surrounding it and a beautiful array of flavor. Look at that. And yeah, stick them down in any crevice that you might see too, because you want to get down in there and get all that onion out throughout. But you don't want to pour it directly over. That's just to surround it. Now we're going to work on our garlic, and after we peeled our garlic, we're going to peel our carrots. And I'm pretty sure you all know how to peel carrots, so I'm going to fast forward. So now everything's good and peeled. We're going to knock all of our peelings down, and then we're going to speed through cutting up the garlic. Look how fast that is. Actually, I sped up the video a bit, but that's not really me cutting garlic. That's just the video being sped up, honestly. I'm not here to brag. I'm not here to... Yeah, because who do you know that can cut garlic that fast? So once you've chopped up the garlic, you don't have to do it this fast. I don't want anybody to lose any fingers over this, but once you've chopped up your garlic pretty finely, well, you don't really want it finely. You don't want it too fine. You want it at least to get some small to medium-sized pieces. Or however big you want. Maybe you want to throw the full cloves in. Who knows? I prefer to chop mine because it goes a further way. There's more coverage that way. Okay, garlic is finally done chopped to the consistency we like, and we're just going to lightly dust them around the edge of our beautiful cradle of vegetables that surround our meat. There's our carrots fully chopped. I didn't show that. Oh, I must have cut that out of the video, but yeah, I did slice the carrots. And now it's time for the best ingredient of all, beer. We're going to need 2 tall cans of Coors. I'm going to explain why we're using Coors later on in the video, because I don't want to mention this twice. But we're going to dump that Coors right in there. This is going to be the base for our juices. All of our juices are going to just sit at the bottom of the pot of the slow cooker here. And while the rack will elevate our meat perfectly to where it's not going to sit in its own juices and become too soggy, because we don't want to lose that searing that we just gave. This is the whole point of searing our pork, to make it nice and crispy. It's not going to keep its crispiness if it's going to sit in that liquid, so we need that rack underneath to lift the meat up and just have the juices drip down, and the beer is going to steam and it's going to imbue into our meats as it cooks. Hence why we call this beer-braized pork. Uh-oh, now I know what you're thinking. SonicBlu's breaking out the liquid smoke. That means he's going to pour the whole bottle in, yeah? No, not this time. The reason why I used a full bottle of liquid smoke in what we've cooked prior to this, which was the pork and beans, was because we were using canned pork. You needed a full bottle to hide the cat food flavor from the canned pork. You needed all that. But for this, we only need maybe 4 capfuls at the most. That's all we need. Maybe a little tiny bit extra than more than 4. We are dealing with a lot of meat here, and that's all we really need. Okay, bye-bye for now. Let's let this cook for 4 to 5 hours.
Now that we've allowed our beer-braized pork to cook for 4 hours, or almost 5 hours now, let's take a look. Actually, let's take a look at our beer-braized pork, and look at that. It is looking beautiful. And then here pretty soon we can add some barbecue sauce to it. But look how tender and moist it is. It's practically falling apart when you grab it. That's exactly what we want right there, is when it falls apart as you pick it up. And we're going to top it off with some barbecue sauce while it's still warming up in the slow cooker. But you know something? Ever since I've been started up through the Cooking with SonicBlu, I've been using barbecue sauce bottles and bottles and bottles of this stuff. You know what? I never taught you how to make your own barbecue sauce. I never showed you how to make barbecue sauce from scratch. So tonight will be that time. I'm going to show you how to make barbecue sauce that you can make in your very own home from scratch. Just follow this recipe. We're going to start with a cup of brown sugar. And we're going to turn this on to about a 4. Get that melting. We've got a spoon over here we're going to use to kind of break that down, let that kind of break that down. This is 1 cup of brown sugar, and just kind of let that kind of form and forage itself. Now we're going to start. This would help if I took this little seal off. And we're going to start to this. We're going to add 2 cups of ketchup. I bet you didn't know that it began with such a basic ingredient, did you? There's 1 cup of ketchup. And that's pretty much the whole jar right there. The whole thing. And a little bit extra, just a few extra dripplings of ketchup remain in the bottle. So I guess what you would say is 16.8 ounces of ketchup is going in here. So that's a little over 2 cups worth. Okay. Then, pardon me, do you have any Grey Poupon? Why, yes we do. We're going to add a little bit of Dijon mustard to this. Now some people would add turmeric, some people would add just regular dry mustard. I prefer...
Too big.
It's too big. I prefer to use Dijon mustard because of the flavor, and you only really need just a smidge. So we're going to just toss in about a couple of teaspoons worth of Dijon. And that's going to add some nice flavor to it. We're also going to add, this is where my tablespoon comes in, I'm going to add, but whoa, come back here. I ain't done with you yet. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. 1, 2 tablespoons Worcestershire.
Worcestershire sauce.
Exactly. Okay. Then, let's add just a tiny hint of liquid smoke to give it a smoky flavor. So this is going to be a smoky flavored barbecue sauce, and we just need probably about a cap. That's all you need. Now, we're going to add half a cup of molasses.
This is going to give it its color and its sweetness and thickness. About a half a cup of molasses going in.
It's okay if it goes a little over.
Yep. There we go.
Camera's acting funny. It recognizes the burners as a face for some reason.
Yeah, it does that. Okay, I'm trying to get some of that out there with this. I could use a rubber spatula, but oh well. All the ingredients are going to meld together anyway, so that's enough molasses. We're also going to need a half a cup of vinegar. We're using apple cider vinegar, and we just need about a half a cup. Okay. We're also going to need our seasonings. Oh, before I forget, let's add a little more sweetness and add 2 tablespoons of honey. This is some real good honey right here.
Real honey.
This is real, authentic honey. Straight from the bees.
Had a little honeycomb in it, but we already ate it.
Yep, it was good. Okay, a little bit of honey.
Do you remember where we got that?
Washington State. It was on the way up to Crypticon. We stopped off and got that cutting
The
board.
farmer's market.
The farmer's market. We got that cutting board and this jar of honey there. Okay, now we're going to go after the seasonings. So what I'm going to do is we're going to need a lot of paprika. So let's get our teaspoon out. We're going to need a lot of paprika. So let's go to the pouring one. Nope, that's the sprinkle one. I need the pouring one. We're going to need 6 of these. One, 2, 3. I'm compensating for what gets knocked off to the side with what goes into the teaspoon. 4, 5, about 6 teaspoons paprika, and probably best to use smoked paprika. Gives it a little extra flavor. Next, some people like to use table salt. I like to add seasoning salt. It gives it a little bit extra flavor. We're going to add about a teaspoon of that. We're just going to eyeball that, actually. I added a little bit, but let me add a little bit more. About that. A little bit more than that. Okay, perfect. No more seasoning salt is needed. We are going to need a teaspoon of ground cumin. Maybe even a half a teaspoon, because that's ground cumin is a very strong flavor, so you only really need a little bit. Chili powder, most definitely. I'm going to need a teaspoon of that. Teaspoon of chili powder. And for an extra bite, I like to add some Tony Chachere's. Nice generous amount of Tony Chachere's. Okay, so now the only thing that's left, and what I'm going to do with my meat over here is I forgot to add 1 seasoning to my meat, and this is a perfect thing to use for the tops of your meat while you're waiting for it to while you're waiting for your barbecue sauce to cook, and when you know your meat's ready to come out. So we're going to add some fennel seed, but I like fennel seed grounded. I don't like it in seed format because when you bite it, it's way too much flavor and way too much bite. So I like to get out the mortar and pestle and grind this down into a powder. The reason being is so that you can get all that enriching flavor all at once and not in little bites and here and there, and I just prefer it better this way. So once you got your fennel seed grinding, and some people do like to go by the old standards of using the old mortar and pestle, instead of using a grinder or anything like that, just get one of these. Not very expensive. You can find them at pretty much anywhere. I got this at Burlington, but you can find them at any grocery store outlet, I'm sure.
I can already smell it.
Yes, it's got a very strong aroma. This is going to be added to the meat. So you see that? All that seed got grounded up like that. See? A little extra to make sure we got it all. And then onto the meat it's going to go. We'll just sprinkle it right on. Just right over the top there. This is going to give it a nice flavor. Okay. Okay, so we've used all of our ingredients for our barbecue sauce. Let's take a spoon. No, let's take a whisk. And whisk this stuff down. We're going to whisk this stuff together. And look at the beautiful color it's making. It doesn't even look like ketchup anymore, does it? It's starting to look like barbecue sauce. So we're going to whisk this down, whisk it all down, whisk it all down. See how we're looking so far. It even smells like barbecue sauce. It smells a lot like barbecue sauce to me. And it looks like it too. Look at that. So you're going to want to whisk this down, and while we're whisking, let's break out the garlic powder. And I'm going to need 2 tablespoons of this because the ketchup we used did not have any garlic powder in it. So I'm going to need a little extra to compensate. We're also going to need some onion powder, but instead, let me just add the chopped onion. It'll give it a stronger oniony flavor. And we're going to need a little bit extra of that because the ketchup also did not have onion powder. This will be faster. Beautiful. Okay, so 2 teaspoons of chopped onion, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. And we're going to whisk all of this together, let this cook for a while.
Gas 4.
Yep. Down to gas mark 4. Just let those chopped onions just kind of permeate. Let all those flavors meld. Let all of this kind of cook together. And that, my friends, is how you make barbecue sauce from scratch. Now, it's okay if it's a little liquidous because it's going right over the tops of our meat in here. And we're just going to ladle it right over. Might not even make it to a bottle or a jar because everything is going to be perfect right here. Now let me get a good taste. Let me get as much of that spoon as possible. And then that's good. Oh, that's good, folks. That is good sauce. That's good sauce. Homemade barbecue sauce. That's good. You see, we let cameraman Kiba have a taste of this wonderful homemade barbecue sauce. Dip your finger in that and give it a try. And you tell me what you think.
That's almost an exact match of like Sweet Baby Ray's.
Only sweeter, because we added a little honey, an actual honey to this recipe. So it's sweeter than Sweet Baby Ray's.
Doesn't Baby Ray have a honey one?
It does. But I think, now, you probably know me well enough by now, a little bit of liquid smoke did not produce that much smoky flavor, so I'm going to add another capful. And maybe a capful and a half. Okay, 2 capfuls. 2 extra capfuls, so 3 caps of liquid smoke. I want to give it that nice smoky, mesquite type flavor, while giving it a nice sweet flavor as well. So we're going Texas style right now. We are doing a Texas style barbecue with chunks of onion floating in it. Now you can also use actual garlic. You can chop garlic and throw that in there as well. The reason why I didn't do that is because chopping the garlic takes a long time to do, and I really don't have much time because that meat's ready to go, and the sauce needs to be made.
What about minced garlic?
Minced garlic could be used as well, but since I already added garlic powder, we really don't need minced garlic either. But minced garlic could be used as well. Substitute that. Let me try. Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely 100% wonderful. You can really taste the liquid smoke in it now. And it's got that mesquite sweet barbecue. In fact, that's what I'm going to call this. Mesquite
Oh yeah, definitely.
sweet. Mesquite sweet barbecue sauce. Okay, so we're going to turn this down to a 2. You're going to let this cook and let this simmer, because it has to simmer. It has to, all those flavors have to meld together. And we're going to let this simmer for a while. And then while it's simmering, it's going to thicken up. Because of all that honey and the brown sugar in there, it's going to help thicken up. And it's going to thicken up in the heat. Before I put a pin in this, I'm going to add some black pepper. Because we got that hickory smoke, now we're going to add a little bit of cracked pepper flavor. So it's going to be a sweet, smoky, sweet, and peppery barbecue sauce. And it's going to be absolutely out of this world. Whisk that in, let all of that meld together. And that, my friends, is how you make barbecue sauce. It's easy as that. And I'm surprised, I'm shocked, I'm almost amazed I never showed you how to make barbecue sauce. I've always used it from the bottles. But, you know, making
We
things
always
from
had
scratch.
Stubbs and
Right.
Sweet Baby Ray's, Kraft.
There's lots of different makers out there with lots of different recipes, but I never showed you my recipe for barbecue sauce, and that's it. That is probably the most perfect barbecue sauce you'll ever want to put in your mouth. Try it sometime. Don't take my word for it, though. Try it. Let me know what you think of it. Now, we're going to take a little break. We're going to let this thicken up, and then when we're ready, we're going to dump barbecue sauce all on this meat. Going to let it sit there in the warm slow cooker for about another 15 to 20 minutes for that sauce to kind of sink in. And then we're going to serve it. And while we're doing that, we're going to work on our sides. And you're going to really love what's coming up next. Because I can't wait. I can't wait. This is beer-braised pork. So all those beautiful flavors are melding together quite nicely. And when you see your first bubbling, that's when you know it's ready to go. And I saw my first bubbling when I started to whisk this. So I just gave it a final whisking together. And yes, be prepared to make a mess on your stovetop. This stovetop was perfectly white when we started, and now look at it, it's splattered all over the place. Okay, so let's transfer our sauce into our bowl. And note the thickness. Now, this is going to be pretty thin when it's hot, but when it cools down, it's going to be, that thickness is going to rise. So, if you plan on chilling this, you probably want to chill it for about anywhere between 6 to 12 hours before you start using it. Or, if it's fresh out of the pan, you can also use it right away, especially for what we're planning right now. Okay, let's take the lid off of this. Oh, baby. Okay, so now we have this on warm. Now what we're going to do... Where'd my brush go? I had my brush.
I can, as soon as you lifted that, I can definitely smell the seed.
Yep, you can definitely smell the fennel seed.
Fennel?
Yep, you can definitely smell that fennel seed. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to pour a little bit over the tops of each one. And look how thin that runs. But look how marvelous it's going to look. That's going to go down into our drippings as well. So anything that's left over, you can use this as a dipping sauce. You can use this as a baking sauce for barbecuing. You can use it on your grill. You can use it practically anywhere. And the beauty part about making beer-braised pork is this is so tender that it's going to fall apart the moment you start picking it up. You can actually make pulled pork out of this. And it doesn't matter what cut of pork that you use, whether it's pork shoulder, pork butt, the sirloin, the pork loin. You can use pork loin. You can use any cut of the pork you wish. Belly cut, back cut, any cut. You cook it for about 4 to 5 hours like this, and beer braise it like I showed you, and you can make pulled pork because it's going to be that tender when it comes out of there. So we're just going to let the barbecue sauce kind of coat the tops of these, and the bottoms are going to soak in all that flavor from the drippings and from the beer that we added here. And we added 3 cans of 16-ounce Coors. And the reason why I added Coors, let's get the lid on that, and so that way that barbecue sauce will just kind of just cook itself over the tops. And then we got all of this beautiful sauce left over if we need it. But the reason why I went with Coors and not Budweiser, and a lot of people know that I use Budweiser in my cooking, but today I used Coors. There's a specific reason for that. For beer braising, you want a beer with a medium body, and Coors has it. Budweiser's body isn't as thick as Coors is, so you definitely want like a lager or a beer that has a medium body. You don't want to use anything that has a thin body. That's for making beer batter. So Budweiser, Rolling Rock, any of the light body beers that you can use is perfect for making beer battered fish, beer battered onion rings, beer battered chicken, beer batter anything. But for this purpose of beer braising, we're going with Coors. Coors is the perfect beer to use. Oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful. God, that looks so good. That looks so amazingly good, beautiful.
Just by, I can see it as well. Just by trying to slightly move it a little bit, I can see it's falling apart.
Yep. Like I said, it's perfect for making your own pulled pork recipes. And you have all that onion and garlic in there and carrot.
You know it's going to be juicy and tender.
It's going to be really, and saucy. Juicy, tender, saucy, delicious. Anything you can imagine to describe the sensation of eating this meat. Add a little bit more around the sides here and make sure that there's a nice... Now it's starting to thicken up. Now that it's sat out, now that it's cooled almost to room temperature, now it's thickened up to the consistency we like in our barbecue sauce. And we made it right here in the kitchen from scratch. So follow that recipe at home and you can tell all your friends where you got that barbecue sauce from. Where did you get this sauce? I made it.
Homemade.
And it doesn't take long to make either. And it's real satisfying knowing that you've made something from scratch that tastes oh so good that you're probably going to quit buying barbecue sauce at the store and make yours from scratch every time. So, let's wait for this to boil up and wait for that to boil up. Wait, this will still be heating, but we're going to wait for those to boil up. We will have a taste test, final presentation, and all that other stuff coming up for you right after this. I can't wait. There it is. There it is. Alright. Whoo, man. That looks good enough to eat, doesn't it, folks? Look at this. I'm going to reach in carefully. Try to pick one of these guys up without having to disintegrate in my hands or my tongs. Find where the... There it comes, here it comes. Slowly but surely. Come on, get off. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that, just falling apart right there. Oh. The barbecue in between there. Oh man, that looks so good. Okay. Alright, and there we have our dinner. That took a very, very, very long time to make, but was it worth it? Let's find out. First of all, I'm saving that meat for last. Shells and cheese came out good. Nice potatoes. Nice and creamy the way I like it. Screw it. I'm going in. With a fork. Look at that. You don't even need a knife. Just comes right off. And like I said, pulled pork sandwiches are a breeze using this technique. Mmm. 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 Barbecue sauce makes it nice and sweet. Amazing. You can really taste the barley from the beer. It just puts together a wonderful array of flavor. An amazing flavor is going on right now.
How would it taste if you maybe put some of the juice from here on the potato?
Or on the meat. Probably tastes pretty darn good too. I'm loving that barbecue sauce. Well, that just about does it for cooking with SonicBlu. The batteries in the cameras are just about dead. I'm satisfied. I'm extremely satisfied with this meal. It's going to be a big meal, and that's why we have lots of people with big appetites. This is SonicBlu signing off for now for Cooking with SonicBlu. Try this recipe at home. Try it with a homemade barbecue sauce the way I did it here. You are not going to be disappointed whatsoever, folks. Let me tell you, this is the way to go. So, from now on, if you ever think about going by your grocery store and buying a bottle of barbecue sauce, think again. Make it yourself. Make it this way, and I guarantee you, you'll probably won't buy another bottle of barbecue sauce in the store ever again, because this is it right here. Such great deliciousness. And the best part of all is you're making it from scratch. You can add or subtract, substitute anything you want to in this recipe. If it's too sweet, take out the honey. If it's not spicy enough, add cayenne pepper. If you want it nice and chunky, add actual onion and garlic to it. The possibilities are endless. If you want more flavor, more smoky flavor, add a little more liquid smoke. It's just a really great way to experiment according to your taste buds. Now, I like it nice and sweet, but I also like it smoky, so this is perfect for me. But maybe you have a few ideas yourself. But for all the time we have for right now, we pretty much plumb run out of time. But try this at home, and you are going to love what you come up with in the kitchen. All it takes is time and imagination. Beautiful.